The person sitting next to you, doing the same job you do, might be making $15,000 more than you. Not because they're better, not because they work harder, but because they got hired 6 months ago and you've been there for 3 years. This is called the loyalty penalty. And once you understand how it works, you'll never look at your job the same way again. Here's the uncomfortable truth about how most companies set salaries. When they hire someone new, they have to pay the current market rate. That's whatever it takes to get a qualified person to actually accept the offer. But for people already on payroll, raises typically come from a completely different budget, a much smaller budget. We're talking annual increases of 2 to 4%, if that. Meanwhile, the market rate for your role might be climbing 7, 10, even 15% per year. So, let's do some math. Say you started a job 3 years ago, making $60,000. You've been a solid performer. You got the standard 3% raise each year. That puts you at around $65,500 today. Sounds reasonable, right? But here's the problem. The company just hired someone with similar experience to do basically the same job. And because the market has shifted, they had to offer $78,000 to get that person to say yes. You've been there longer. You know the systems. You've built relationships. You train the new people. And you're making $12,500 less per year than the person asking you where the bathroom is. This isn't a bug in the system. It's how the system is designed. Companies budget for raises and new hires from separate pools of money. The raise pool is usually a fixed percentage of total payroll, let's say 3% across the board. Managers have to divide that tiny pie among their entire team. Even if they wanted to give you a 20% bump to match market rate, they literally don't have access to that money. But the hiring budget? That's treated as an investment. They'll stretch to get the right candidate because an open position costs them productivity, morale, and momentum. So they pay up. The weird result is that companies will pay more to replace you than to keep you. Now you might be thinking, okay, but won't they eventually fix my salary when they realize I'm underpaid? And the answer is probably not. At least not without you forcing the issue. Here's why. From your employer's perspective, you've already accepted your current pay. Every day you show up is another day you've signaled that the arrangement works for you. They have no financial incentive to proactively give you more money. That would cost them money, and if you haven't complained, why would they assume there's a problem? This is why the data on job switching is so striking. Workers who change jobs typically see salary increases of 10 to 20%. Workers who stay at the same company? 3 to 5% on a good year. Over a 10-year career, the difference can add up to hundreds of thousands of dollars. Not because job hoppers are more talented, but because they keep resetting their salary to the current market rate. I want to be clear. I'm not saying you should quit your job tomorrow. There are real benefits to staying somewhere. You build expertise. You develop relationships. You might have a great manager, good benefits, or flexibility that's hard to find elsewhere. Those things have value. But you need to know what that loyalty is actually costing you, because it's not free, and most people never do the math. So, how do you figure out if you're being underpaid? Start by researching what your role pays at other companies. There are free tools for this. Glassdoor, Levels. FYI, LinkedIn Salary Insights, Pay Scale. Look for roles with similar titles, similar experience requirements in similar locations. Get a range. Here's a tip that took me way too long to figure out. Job postings themselves are gold mines. Many states now require companies to include salary ranges in their listings. Go on LinkedIn or Indeed and search for jobs you'd be qualified for. Even if you're not planning to apply, you'll see what companies are actually willing to pay right now. That's your real market rate. Once you have that number, compare it to what you're making. If the gap is more than 10%, you have a problem worth addressing. Now comes the hard part. What do you actually do about it? Option 1 is to negotiate internally. This can work, but you need to approach it strategically. Asking for a raise because you've been there a long time or because you work hard is not a strong argument. Your employer already knows those things, and they're paying you what they're paying you anyway. What works better is framing it around market data and your specific contributions. Something like, I've researched compensation for similar roles in our industry, and I'm seeing a range of X to Y. Given my performance and the projects I've led, I'd like to discuss adjusting my salary to be more competitive with the market. Notice what's happening here. You're not complaining. You're not threatening. You're presenting information and opening a conversation. You're making it easy for your manager to advocate for you internally because you've given them the data they need to make the case. Will this always work? No. Some companies have rigid pay structures. Some managers don't have the budget or the influence. Some will smile and say they'll look into it, and nothing will happen. Which brings us to option 2. Get another offer. This sounds aggressive, but hear me out. A competing offer is the clearest signal you can send that the market values you higher than your current employer is paying. It's not a bluff. It's not a threat. It's just information. Information backed by someone else's real money. If you get an offer for $85,000 and you're currently making $70,000, you have a decision to make. You can take the new job and reset your salary to market rate. Or you can go back to your current employer and see if they'll match or get close. Some people feel uncomfortable with this, like it's holding their employer hostage. But think about it from the company's perspective. If they want to keep you, they need to make it worth your while. That's not manipulation. That's just how markets work. Now, a warning. If you play this card, be prepared to actually leave. Using an offer you have no intention of taking is risky. If your employer calls your bluff, you're stuck. And even if they match, they may view you differently going forward. So only do this if you're genuinely willing to walk. There's also a third option that people don't talk about enough. Sometimes the best move is to leave, even without a counteroffer, especially if you've tried to negotiate and gotten nowhere. I know leaving feels scary. The job search is exhausting. The new place might not be as good. What if you hate it? These are real concerns. But staying in a role where you're significantly underpaid has its own risks. Resentment builds, motivation fades, and every year you stay, the gap between your salary and your market value gets wider. The most expensive thing you can do is stay loyal to a company that isn't loyal to your wallet. So, here's your action plan. First, spend 30 minutes this week researching salaries for your role. Use the free tools I mentioned. Look at job postings. Write down what you find. Second, calculate your gap. If you're within 5% of market rate, you're probably fine. If you're 10 to 15% below, it's time to have a conversation. If you're 20% or more below, you should seriously consider looking elsewhere. Third, if you decide to negotiate, prepare your case. Document your contributions. Bring the market data. Practice what you're going to say out loud so you don't freeze up in the moment. Fourth, set a timeline. Give yourself a deadline to either get the adjustment you need or start actively job searching. Open-ended promises to yourself don't work. Pick a date. Look, none of this is fun. Nobody wants to think about being undervalued by a place they've given their time and energy to. But the companies that benefit from your loyalty are counting on you to never look at the numbers. They're betting you'll stick around out of comfort, fear, or habit. The best thing you can do is make an informed decision. Maybe you'll negotiate a raise. Maybe you'll find a better opportunity. Or maybe you'll look at the data and realize you're actually paid fairly, and that peace of mind is worth something too. But at least you'll know. If this helped you think about your career differently, consider subscribing to Like Your 5. We break down money topics that affect your actual life, without the jargon, without the judgment, just clear explanations you can use.